Hello guys, this is my first time filming in front of the beautiful new bookshelves, but I am here today with a super fun video brought to you by my bestie girl Andrea, who so kindly made me some blind dates with books for my birthday, and in this vlog we're gonna read them. Let's go over what we have. So what she did was she bought these off my wish list, and honestly I had so many books on my wish list, couldn't tell you what she bought. I have actually no guess, but we'll go over what there is. She gave me the genre, how many pages it is, and what the Goodreads rating is, because she knows what's important to me. The genre, very important. I always like to know how many pages something is, and then always love the Goodreads rating. So we have got a romance that is 400 pages and a Goodreads rating of 3.81. I am also quite feeling romance right now because I just finished reading My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and that book spoke to me. So we're looking for something less spooky. We've got magical realism, which is another really fun genre. This is 369 pages with a Goodreads rating of a 4.18. We've got a longer romance here, a romance that's 624 pages but has a 4.43 Goodreads rating. That's a super high rating, so that's up there. It's kind of long, but I feel like I read here, Things We Never Got Over. That book's like 600 pages, and I read that in like 2 days, so I feel like romance can be read pretty quickly. We have a mystery, 417 pages and a Goodreads rating of 4.29. And then finally we have a fantasy, which is, it's like written on, like this is the way the book goes. I don't know what side's the front and the back, but it's definitely upside down. But this is a fantasy book, which is so weird because I don't really read fantasy. So the fact that I had a fantasy on my TBR or on my like Amazon wish list, wild. 517 pages and a 4.23 on Goodreads. Before we make our final choice decision, I want you guys to comment down below what you think each of these books are. So we have book 1, book 2 is the magical realism, book 3 is the mystery, book 4 is the shorter romance, and book 5 is the fantasy. So I do also think that I will read romance since there is 2 romances, and when I read books, I don't like to read the same genre back to back. For me, it helps for me to not get super burnt out on a genre, and I do feel like I read mainly, I feel like 60% of my reading is mystery, thriller, horror, like spooky genre, and then of the remaining 40%, I would say probably 20% of that is romance, 15% of that is just like regular type of like fiction book, like some of them are magical realism but like with romance not being in the forefront, and then I would say the last 5% is the occasional like fantasy type book. But there are 2 romances here, so I definitely want to split them up in the grand scheme of things. I don't know why, but like a longer book's kind of feeling like it's calling to me, and I'm just so curious what romance I had on there that's this shape. It's not the only one that's hardcover. Also for your guesses is the fantasy. The rest of them feel like paperback. So I think this one's going to be our first pick, and let's open her up. I feel like also because they are for my wish list, I'm going to open them and then be like, oh, yep, that makes sense. So that's what I'm gauging my reaction's going to be to this one. Okay, it's black cover. Oh, yeah. Okay, we are going to be reading Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. The infamous floppy paperback that everybody, or famous, I guess. Everybody loves how floppy this paperback is. I think I have this on my Kindle, so I'll probably read it on my Kindle, but I might keep it close by because I know a lot of people really annotate the shit out of these books. So I may want to do that, but this is going to be our first read. This is a YA fiction book with romance, obviously. The little tiny blurb, I'll read that to you, is he wants to save her, she wants to hide, she's damaged, he's determined. Fate brought them together, love binds them. And I know that he's like a rugby player, I believe, and then like the main gal has had a pretty rough and tough life, is like pretty much all I know about this. It is multi-POV and it has chapter titles. It's so funny. The one I just opened to, it's called Bitchy Girls and Burger Breath. But yeah, I love the chapter titles. The last book I actually just read also had them. So yeah, our first book is going to be Binding 13. And honestly, I'm filming this right now. I'm typically more of like a nighttime reader. Let me know down below. Do you prefer to read during the day or during the night? I personally like to read at night, but I think a lot of that is because I'm usually reading spooky books. But basically in my neighborhood right now, they are installing AT&T fiber, but due to this, for the next multiple weeks during the day while they're working, our internet's going in and out, in and out, in and out. And if you don't know, I do run a small business, and like I kind of need the internet to work. So it's been a lot of working late at night and reading now during the day. But our first book for this video is going to be Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Let me know if you've read it, what you think. I'm excited to get into this. So I feel like the writing in this book is also so tiny. I'm so glad to not be reading it physically. Look how tiny the text is. Tiny margins, tiny text, but I'm looking forward to it. Okay, guys. Oh, can we see the bookshelf? She's looking stunning. Maybe we stand like that. It's way better. Basically, I'm about to get started on this. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I just finished work for the day. I'm gonna hope to read like a couple hundred pages of this. I think I read probably on average like 80 to 100 pages an hour, so I could probably get like 200 pages in, hopefully 150 by like midnight, and try to not stay up too late. I just fear that I will get sucked in and not want to put her down. This book is so fun to flop around, simply, like, so floppity-doppity. You know what we can also do? I do have this, which is a cute little embosser. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But yeah, you can see the embossing. It says from the library of Hannah Zajas, which is me. But I'm gonna go take a quick shower, and so I will look hideous in my following clips, but I am gonna bring the book next to my bed. I do have it on my Kindle, so I'm gonna read on my Kindle because that's who I am as a person, but I am gonna have it with these kind of like matching colored annotating supplies. Put them in the front cover, and I'm gonna put her over here on the bed on my nightstand so that it is a present. I also forgot my water in my office, or actually no, it's right here from when I went on a walk. Water. I'm going to shower and get to reading. I'm very excited. Okay guys, I'm about 12% into the book. I don't really have a ton to say yet, but I feel like I'll do a more proper check-in whenever I'm like halfway, but we are straight vibing. Can't see him, but he's over there, husband, reading his book. What are you reading?
I'm reading Brandon Sanderson, Mistborn.
We're just vibing, hanging and vibing, baby. Okay guys, we are here to talk about this book. I was gonna check in when I was halfway, but then I just really got caught up in this. Let's see where I am physically. I'm on chapter 46. So I am almost done with the book. I'm like 70% and I'm on page 414, and we'll go over our thoughts and feelings about her right now. Spoiler 3, of course. So I am now at this point finally like getting the hype behind this book, and I'm very mad that I don't have the like Larry Reed's alt covers for both the first and second book, because the third and fourth book, like the Redeeming Six or whatever, the one about Joey, is for pre-sale right now, but like I simply can't, seeing as she put in the comments when somebody asked about these ones coming back that they won't be coming back, and I just can't. But I can't wait for those ones because Joey is my favorite character, hands down. I've never really read, first off, I don't know if you guys have never seen the text in this book. Tiny, margins tiny. I feel like this is actually like an 800-page book. Let's just go there. Because I typically read like 100 pages an hour, so tell me how I have 200 pages left, and I still have like 4 hours left according to my Kindle. That's wild. It's taking me so long to read this, and I've never before read a slow burn romance until now. I'm like a get to the point type of gal, and I do feel like the first like 30% of this book, I was texting my friend Emily because she read this and gave it a 4.5, I believe, on Goodreads, and I was like, when does this get interesting? Because I feel like this first 30% of the book is like, I want her, I shouldn't. Do I like him? I've never liked a boy. Do I want her? Do I like her? And like, I get that it's like the pining is part of the slow burn, but I'm just like, can we get to the point, you guys? Like, another thing I'm not like obsessed with, and I feel like I'm just harping on the bad, so I'll get to the good, don't worry, is that this is dual point of view, which I love typically. However, I feel like most of the time in dual point of view, it's like as you're switching point of view, the story is moving forward. But in this, it almost feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. When you go to the next point of view, you're like kind of back in time a little bit in the scene to see part of the scene from their point of view, and I just think it's kind of repetitive. Overall, I am really liking it. I think the characters are so lovable. Like, I love Johnny, I love Shannon, I love Joey, I love Joey's girlfriend. I think it might be Effie. In the pronunciation guide, let's see. It says, or Effa? Joey and Effa, love her. She's so good. I love Gibbsy, love Claire, love all of the characters. They're all so good, and I love like the story of friendship in this. It's so good. So I am really liking it, but it's definitely not a 5-star for me. Absolutely not. The whole beginning was just so boring. Literally like 30%. So like over 200 pages of this book, I felt like I was reading nothing, but now it's also getting very serious. I would definitely suggest searching up trigger warnings if you read this book, because there are some heavy topics in it, but overall I'm quite enjoying it. I'm filming this right now because it's sunlight, but I am currently working, so I'm gonna go get back to work. I will definitely finish this today, and I'm also looking like a toe right now, but tomorrow I will get cute and we'll unwrap our next book. I already know which one I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick the mystery book. It's going between the mystery and the magical realism, but I just need something that I can like guarantee will be fast paced after this, because this is so slow paced. So that's the setup for now. You guys will get a full, better, more cohesive review of Binding 13. As you can see, this is Keeping 13. We've pivoted. But I'll give you a full review of my thoughts and feelings on that tomorrow when I'm not looking like this. But we're pausing my blind date with a book because that left on such a cliffhanger. I had to immediately start this, and I'm already 10% in. I read it a little bit after I finished Keeping 13 yesterday. I think in this video we're just gonna read 2 of my blind dates in the book with the books, and then we'll read the other 3 in a different video. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought like, because I can read like 3 books in a week, so I was like, okay, I have 2 weeks to film this video. I'll read all 5 of these books. But Binding 13, though like the physical copy says it's like 600 something pages, definitely because of how tiny the text is and how tiny the margins are, it's gotta be like, in a real regular book would be like 800 pages. It's so long, and it felt long. And one of the other books over there is a fantasy that's like 500 pages, and I read fantasy so slow. The other one, we'll pick one tomorrow. It's probably gonna be the mystery. What is this? Oh my god, because I just need something that's not gonna pull at my heart so hard. And magical realism always makes me cry for some reason. The romance will probably make me cry. I have no idea what it even is. And I do not want to read fantasy right now. So we'll probably read, I'm gonna finish this. Probably, it is, there's my phone. 7:48. And I'm gonna set my alarm, my like backup alarm for 10 a.m. tomorrow. I don't really need to get up tomorrow. Until 10 at like the absolute latest. Basically, my husband, Chris, he has a hair appointment at 11, and I see his haircut. I typically don't go with him, but we are gonna go get lunch after. It's just like our Tuesday thing as we go to lunch. We also might go to a bookstore. If we do, I'll vlog some of it for you guys. I'll bring my book and read it there. But basically, I work for myself, and I'm not gonna get up in the morning, and I'm not gonna get up in the morning at like 8 and work for like 2 hours. That's just not how I operate. I need to like get into the groove of work, so I'm just gonna work whenever we get back from our errands. So yeah, basically I will give you my full update on Binding 13 when I look less hideous, and I'm just gonna start reading Keeping right now. Okay guys, we have not filmed in front of the black and white shelves yet. What do you think? Kind of cute, kind of fun, kind of fresh. Okay, so we're going to talk about my thoughts and feelings on Binding 13. We'll start out with my rating. I did give it 4 stars. I don't really bother with half ratings because you can't do half ratings on Goodreads. If I was, I would say probably 4.25. I really liked it, that cliffhanger though. Y'all. And because that cliffhanger, we've kind of derailed this video. I think I mentioned it in the last clip. I'm only going to read one more book, which we are going to open right now, because I am like a 1/4 of the way through Keeping 13. And then I'm going to stop before we move into like Taming and Saving 6, or the stories about Joey. We're going to pause till we go to them. But basically, this book is about Shannon, and Shannon was, this is no spoilers, Shannon was bullied really heavily in her school, and so she switches to this like fancy private school called Tommen. and she has a run-in with the like star rugby player Johnny, and he vows to like protect her. And you go through and you basically figure out like everything bad that's happening in Shannon's life, and her, it's a very much so a slow burn romance. Her and Joey, like, should we, or not Joey, Joey's her brother, that would be weird. Her and Johnny, like, Johnny doesn't think they should be together, and XYZ, and yada yada, trying to figure out why she's so, like, sad all the time. And it's very emotional. It really pulls at your heartstrings. It was getting me stressed out, and I immediately had to move into the second one because it left on such a cliffhanger. So I am currently reading Keeping 13, which I don't have physically. I'm going to the bookstore today, though, so we'll see. I'm going to start another book for this video, another one of the wrapped up ones that we have here. Here they are. I already know I'm going to pick the mysteries, but we also have a fantasy, and not picking that, way too long. Don't have it in me for another really long book. And then we have another romance and a magical realism. I don't want to read another romance after reading 2 romances, and magical realism tends to make me also feel emotional. So I need something that's not as emotional, if I'm being honest with you. So we're going to do a mystery after we finish Keeping 13. So I'm going to open this just so I can have it on the docket and start it whenever I finish. Oh, okay. We've got Good Girl, Bad Blood. I did read, right here, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And then, ironically enough, I do own As Good as Dead, but I didn't own Good Girl, Bad Blood. And this is because I had the first book in the series and knew I was going to read it. And then the little free library in my neighborhood had the 3rd book. So I was like, well, I'll just grab it. And then if I don't like the first book, I'll redonate both of them. So I liked the first book, and I'm excited to get started on the second book. It's about Pip again, and she has a podcast, which is pretty cool, and it looks like there's like excerpts from the podcast. Her and Ravi have a podcast, and like a true crime podcast. And so that sounds like it's going to be really, really good, really interesting, and I'm excited to read this. That was a good pick of Andrea, since she knows that I have the 3rd one. So yeah, this will be the final book we read in this video after we're done with Keeping 13. Keeping 13, you guys. First off, I was trying to like keep up with looking cute for this video, and it's just not happening because this is real life. In real life, I only look cute like 1 to 2 days out of the week, but I am wearing one of my bookish sweaters. I like the black on black, and it says shh, I'm reading. But we are about 60% through Keeping 13. These books are just so long. And I read a review that was like, these books are really long, and that's why like it's definitely not getting a 5-star. And in her comment, she had said that like her friend said, yeah, once you like start reading it, it doesn't feel long. This feels long. It feels like I've been reading this for forever. It feels long. I literally will not lie. There's also like a cute little playlist in the back, and the song by Pink, Family Portrait, literally very fitting. But I am liking it. It's again giving 4 energies. Definitely not going to be a 5 because it feels very long. I also was watching Rachel. I don't know what her full channel name is. She's from Australia, and she had like the like non-US versions of these books, and they're like huge. And I think maybe they don't have such tiny text and small margins. And I looked up that version of it, and those books are like over 800 pages. So I think that's really more the reality of these books than the like barely 600. I think, yeah, 800 seems more correct when it comes to these. But I am thinking very much so a 4-star. I don't want to really say much because it's like part of a series, which kind of sucks because this video is also kind of like continuing the series I'm in the middle of. But basically, we're continuing exactly where we left off. Like the first line of this book is the same as the last line of the last book, which I did love. I thought that was very impactful. And I know people are like, I could read a million more pages of these characters. I just love Johnny and Shannon. And I do love them, but I do think they kind of bother me a little bit. Like, I don't know, Shannon can be kind of like irritating at times. Johnny can be irritating at times. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen the show called The Fosters. I absolutely love that show, but they remind me of Callie and Wyatt. They're giving that energy IMO, and that's like what I think while I am reading it. That's what they like remind me of. But yeah, it's really good. I'm definitely gonna read the rest of the books. I know that Saving and Redeeming 6 are about Joey, and Joey's like one of my favorite characters, and Taming 7, I believe, is about Gibbsy, which I also like him more than I like Johnny, so we will see. But so far, so good. I do think this cover is really pretty. I like the sunsetty kind of colors. And yeah, we're going to continue this. I'm definitely, I think, most likely going to finish this today. I read from 31%, I think, to like 62%, yes, or 64%, 65, I don't know. I'm in the mid 60%, so I only have like, I think like 3 hours left in this book, so I should definitely be able to get this finished today if I shut up and go get back to work. Okay guys, I am, I think, like 30% into Good Girl, Bad Blood. It is okay so far. I like how much of it is like, I forget the word, like multimedia with like text threads and like the podcast interview, stuff like that. I do think that's like really, really good. I will say, I read this book, The One That Got Away with Murder by Trish Lundy, and I think that this book is very similar to like similar vibes. It's also a YA thriller to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I do like that book better. This book's so far giving 3 energy, but the ending, the twist, whatever happens in the rest of it could definitely sway it one way or the other. It is 8:50. I'm gonna go take a shower. So I wanted to film this clip before I look like a toe, but I'm gonna go take a shower, and then I'm hoping to just finish this up today. It's like my current goal, you know? So we'll see if we're able to make that happen. I think I am 28% about to start chapter 11. So yeah, I'm about this far into it, but I do think I can read the rest of it tonight, and that'll be the setup, and then we will go on to our conclusions for this video. Okay guys, we did it. We read 3 books, kind of, for the blind date with the book. 2 of these were, and one of them was just of my own devices. We do have 3 more to do. I will do a whole nother video reading those ones well, at some point, but let's go over the books we read for this video. The first book that we opened for our blind date with a book was Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, which is the first book in the Boys of Tommen series. This is about Johnny and Shannon, and there's a bazillion triggers in this book, so make sure you search your trigger warnings before you pick it up. If you have triggers, definitely just check, because a lot of things happen in this book, but it is about Shannon, and she doesn't have a really easy life. She's bullied and tormented, and Johnny is basically her knight in shining armor rugby player. Super cute, but this left off on the craziest cliffhanger of my life. And one thing I will say, these books are entirely too long, like 300 pages too long, like so long, and to me they felt long. They felt very, very, very long. I was like, why is this book, say on my Kindle, that's gonna take me like over 10 more hours to finish it? Crazy. Because of how long it was and how much I felt like it could be like shortened, I gave it a 4-star, but still good. Because the cliffhanger was so crazy, I immediately had to go buy Keeping 13 at the good old Barnes, and same kind of sentiment. One thing I loved is that Keeping 13 started with the same line that Binding 13 ended with. I just think that's so powerful, so good. Loved that. Really enjoyed this book. I do think I liked the second one more than the first one, and I also gave it 4 stars because, again, in my opinion, it's entirely too long. I do like playlists, and there's one song on here called Family Portrait by Pink, and I have not heard that song in probably like, how old am I, 29, probably like 15 years, and it was like, whoa, blast from the past, and literally the perfect song for this. I'm so excited to continue the series and read Saving 6 and Redeeming 6, because those are about Shannon's brother Joey and his girlfriend Aoife. And I love Joey. Joey is my favorite character in the series thus far that I've met, so I'm really excited about that. And I know that Taming 7 is about Gibbsy, so I think that Shannon and Johnny are actually my least favorite of the like main characters in the book. So if I gave their books 4 stars, I'm sure I will be giving the other ones at least 4 stars. Then the last book we read for this was Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, and I gave this 3 stars. I gave the first book in the series 4 stars, but it was good. It was fine. To me, a 3-star is still a good rating. For me, 3 stars is, I'm not mad that I read it. It was good. Didn't really like leave a lasting impression on me. In this, we have our returning characters of Pip and Ravi from the first book, and they have started a podcast. Well, Pip has, called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And then I'm just making sure what I say is on the back, yeah. And then her friend's brother Jamie goes missing, and the police aren't taking it seriously per usual, and she uses her detective skills to figure out what happened. It was a YA thriller. It was fine. I liked the first one more, but I am excited to see how the last one goes because I've heard that the last one's really, really good. So that is everything that I read for this cutie pie little video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell me which one of these 3 books is your favorite that you've read. Let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys!